Hi guys, you're with me Mark from SwitchUp Gaming, and as was the case a couple of months ago when we looked at the Switch version of Outlast and compared it side by side with the PS4 Pro versions and the PC versions, today we're going to look at the Switch version and compare it to the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Now instantly you'll notice some clear differences in the graphical fidelity, not to mention the 30 frames per second to 60 frames per second differences. Now while it does look amazing on Switch, just check out the texture differences on this clock. The Nintendo Switch is using some clear texture compression techniques to improve performance, but as you can see on the right hand side, the beautifully crisp textures on the PS4 Pro version are evident. Now this is merely an analysis of what we have here. It's not to say that one is better than the other or whatever. Let's be honest, you can play the Switch version on the toilet. And quite frankly, you're going to need to. Now while I mentioned that the textures are crisper on the PS4 Pro, it's not night and day. Take a look at this Xbox One X version as well. The textures are very crisp to the slightly muddier Switch textures, but actually, do you know what? When you're playing a game like this, especially when it gets a bit darker and we get the night vision camera, you can't really tell. This 2x zoomed in footage from the Switch corridor scene really emphasises how blurry some of the textures are in comparison to the PS4 Pro. Now this goes without saying, but also you'll notice there's small details like on the right hand side, that metal area is actually not even there on the Switch version. Here we can see the pilot on the right looks much crisper, whereas on the left it's a little bit more blurry, but again in these darker scenes it really isn't an issue at all. And when you're playing the game, the motion blur effect on the Switch version can actually trick you into thinking that it's running at a nice silky smooth 60 frames per second, when actually it's clearly 30 frames per second from the footage that we've recorded. Overall though, it's another impressive Nintendo Switch port. You've got to remember that this is just a Tegra 1 chip, which was never really intended to run these types of games. So to see it here is amazing. I really look forward to when we have the revised Switch hardware that potentially has a modified Tegra 2 chip in it, which can run quicker. Now most of the silicon there is the same as the Tegra 1, but actually it has a much higher memory bus, which allows for quicker texture streaming and potentially a crisper image. So that's something that I look forward to in the future. What about you guys? Let me know down in the comments. Can you see the differences, or does it look the same to you? Are you pleased with the ports of Outlast that we've seen? For me personally, I think it's a huge improvement over things like Doom, where it was very muddy and very murky. Although again, that was a good port. For me, these are the best ports I've seen so far on Switch. Thanks guys, make sure you keep it Switch up, hit the like and the subscribe button if you've enjoyed the content so far. If you haven't, then slam that dislike button, but please tell me why down below so that I can improve next time. Thanks again from Glen and I, keep it Switch up.